Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, Yet Another Adventure. On today's build we're going to tackle multiple things. We're going to start off with the walls, then go to the floors, and finally with the ceiling. Also we're going to do a little bit of something with the butcher block. But let's go ahead and get started with the walls. So before, obviously, we put up the 1/4-inch plywood, we put in sound deadening material, and then on top of that we put the insulation. You may be able to notice the two wires hanging with the blue tape there. We're going to leave that. That's the cabin light for the rear, and we're going to put a switch on that so it can be switched as well as from the doors. And if you notice that the rubber trim around the frame goes right up to the wood, he did a great job. Water gauge is done. USB and 12-volt socket, and the switches, and then the dimmer. And then inside you got your plumbing. And look at what he did here. Look at this. Look at that. Pretty good sized cabinet. And the little one, a little tiny one, because we have a backing back there. And instead of just not doing anything, he ended up doing a small little one. So that actually works out perfect. Then we'll do a little door there, a little door here, a little door there for access. The butcher block over there just came in, and excited. So this is the last thing he just got done, is the wall. And man, talk about contoured. Look how perfect this is, all the way down. And all this will be hidden from all the backsplash. And then on this one here, we have the bed, and then we're doing a little trim. And he had a great idea, is do the trim on the same butcher block type so that the white is broken up with the little trim. So it's getting there. It is getting there, and it's gonna be exciting. The first trip will probably be the Smoky Mountains. Oh, look what we got here. So we got the AC outlet, which is obviously, that's the electrical room, if you want to call it, compartment, and then the Renogy. So, and of course you've seen the fridge. It's coming along, and those, been debating taking them down, but I think we're going to take them down, because to get to the windows, I just want to clean the windows, because if I'm out there, I want to see the mountains. I want to be able to experience the mountains. So good job, man.
Oh, we're rocking. We're rocking.
All right, now that we're done with that, we ended up putting the butcher block in. Came out really good. Cutting it was a little bit of a challenge and a lot of sanding, obviously, but man, that thing is smooth as can be all the way down. I was thinking about doing a little routing, using the router to do the trimming of the corners, but you know what? I think I'm going to leave it like this. All right, let's jump to the floors now. Well, you can see how much room we have. It actually took almost 3 entire panels to cover the whole area there. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but that came out good. I love the wood finish, and with the white, it's going to be a nice contrast. We made a little opening in the middle of the hole. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit later, but this is obviously for an access to the electrical. Now final is the floor. So it's got a nice little wood grain. That's going to be white. That'll be white cabinets. And then he put a nice little silver trim, aluminum, and that'll actually protect the floor there. So that's nice. That came out really good. And you see right here in the middle, that is the access panel. You can just remove that insulation, and then that'll be the access panel for the pump. And then of course you saw previously the two tanks there, 2 7-gallon tanks. So that's coming out nicely. Yeah, and here we got the switch panels, and this is going to blend in really nicely because this is going to be white as well. Obviously the butcher block, it's not sealed yet. We plan to, I'm trying to figure out, because there's so many variations of what to do with this. So that's actually the issue, is I don't know if I'm just gonna give it a coat and that's enough to darken it a little bit, because I really do not want to go too dark on this. I do want to create a contrast with a white and the butcher block, and then the background, we're going to have some kind of splash background there. And I got to hear your comments about this. Should I get rid of that or should I keep it? That little protector for the glass. My biggest issue is, how do I clean the glass? That would be long, putting everything through there. No, we're not doing that. And then hopefully this weekend, the materials, all the materials are just, takes forever to get anything. And so we're just waiting for the tongue and groove to come in so we can go ahead and finish that. So, and when I say we, it's that guy right there. He's doing all the carpentry work, man. He's working around the clock. So if you want to get one built like this, you got to check out his link underneath. So anyways, and then obviously you've seen this already in the past, and we're thinking about doing something here. He had a great idea, is let's do a trim the same way as the butcher block to kind of match this, so it'll separate the white here, and then you'll have a little bit of butcher block trim there. So that's a great idea. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that, see how that's going to look up. And then as we get through, we got to talk about mattresses. Got an idea for this to kind of hide that with the back pad of the mattress. So yeah, it's coming along. Oh man, it's exciting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right, so you saw where we are with the van. We've got the plumbing in, we got the electrical in. Now we're getting to the point with the kitchen. You saw the countertop. We've obviously all the sanding. You know why we did all the sanding? Because we're getting this epoxied. I did buy all the stuff. I did buy the stains, everything, tested all the stains, but I go, you know what? I like the look of epoxy. And I was gonna try it myself. I went on YouTube and I decided, I'm like, you know what? I can do it myself. You know, mixture this, that. I saw so many videos, but I was like, you know what? With all the work that went into this thing, I'm gonna leave it to people who know what they're doing. This is Sergio. I'll link his company below. So he does, this is probably like something so simple for him because I saw his work and he's got like all this artistic stuff, you know, more for like houses and everything. But you know what? We'll throw a butcher block at him from the kitchen and see how it's going. So right now he's just prepping everything up, you know, and put all this. I was like, we'll do it in the garage. You know, some of the videos I said make sure because of dust. So I ended up getting all the dust out of here. I blew everything out before we prepped, and now they're just prepping, and we'll see how this turns out. So in this process, we tape the bottom of the butcher block. This way, when we start putting the epoxy on, it's gonna only drip to that tape, and then we just peel it off. This will allow us not to have anything harden where we're gonna mount it on the structure below. All right, as we're doing this, Sergio's tempting me. First, we want to do it clear, but he goes, man, we can do something artistic with this. Do like a white with a black or white, and he just showed me one gray. Had white, gray, definitely not the gold. So these are all the colors. So I'm thinking, if anything, more like a white and black, since our van is, you know, obviously with white and black. The cabinets are all white. We were gonna have a wood, and then the backsplash is a Subway white tile. So that's why we needed something to kind of break up the white.
Yeah, we can put a light gray and white.
Light gray and white, you think?
Yes.
So a light. Okay, we're gonna take his word for it, and this is something different because everybody always does the butcher block and a stain, which is beautiful too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ripping on anybody, but we're gonna try something different here. So here we're doing a little pre-mix so we could do a test area. I just did not want to take the gamble and go ahead and start right on the butcher block. So I got a little board so that we were able to play around and see how we want and what mixture exactly. And I'm glad we did, because we ended up putting a little bit too much black. So I just told them we didn't want it as busy for the butcher block. This gives it a little different than everything else.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that instead of the white. You know what? Let's take a gamble. Let's do it. I mean, what do we got to lose?
And with the white, the black spot is gonna be.
All right, so we're mixing
The gray, the metallic
the
gray.
metallic.
This is gonna be the base.
Now, to be transparent and honest, When I first saw this, I'm like, oh man, but at this point, there's no turning back, you know, so we're moving forward. All right, so far you can see it's now taking the look like what we saw in the little mold here that we did, the little example we did. Look at these guys, like a little artist. They do little hand things and stuff like that. Next thing you know, they'll be starting to throw stuff, and I'm sure they probably get the stuff in their hair and everything else for later. Look at that, it's got like a 3D look effect on there. If this was my art, if that was me, I would find some kind of way of putting my initials and going, yeah, this is my work. They probably have some kind of weird thing that they do.
He moves though every time. Something like this, no, like he would have to hide it somewhere on the top.
Yes, you are looking at a plastic spoon to do this artistic masterpiece. Sergio going over there. He's got his little thing.
Yeah.
He's got a spoon. Forget a brush, man. The guy's using a spoon and a cup.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
That's the technique right there. That's the $1 million technique.
Don't tell anybody either.
Yes.
You know, just we won't tell
I was
anybody.
about to tell the other technique, but
There you go.
I'll keep that one for the next video.
So what does the heat gun? So the heat gun kind of disperses it. When the countertop is seen in the light, you can just see the metallic just bouncing right back. I mean, it's incredible how it looks. The camera doesn't do it justice. All right, so we're almost done. You saw the beginning of this. Sergio, right? Yep, Sergio. Look at Sergio. So he didn't disappoint. A little different. So it's gonna be interesting when I show to Enrique. He's gonna be like, "What in the world?" And I said, "Exactly." So he's expecting a wood look, but this is gonna. Let me take you a little closer. You can look at that. And when it dries, it's already. If you look at it in the light, the glare. It just pops right back at you like a 3D effect. It's hard to explain. So now while I'm doing that back at Enrique's house, he's working on the ceiling. He's putting up the Arctic installation and then the panels. And we're trying to figure out how we're going to lay them out, because we wanted to make sure and have the little line inserts with a little separation that creates those lines between them. Unfortunately, we ran out and had to wait until more came back into stock. After that, brought back the butcher block to begin the installation to the cabinet. We used Gorilla Glue and also screwed it in so that it wasn't going to go anywhere. So that thing was solid. We then moved to the countertops and we used this trim, and we used the heat gun to bend them so that it can go around these columns back here. We didn't want to do two pieces, so we just kept doing this over and over and over so that we can get it to fit perfectly. And it worked out great. We just then glued it. As a result, it ended up making a nice little separation between the countertop and the backsplash. ended up going with the white subway looking tile, and it was like a sticker, but it actually had texture. So once you put it on, you run your hands over it, and it actually feels like there's a tile there. Man, I'm telling you, this came out so good. I highly recommend this. I got this at Lowe's. And as you see, we decided to add a little cabinet at the last minute. It's a small little overhead cabinet, but you know what? It gives us that extra storage. And I just want to take a moment just to thank all the subscribers that have subscribed. And as you already know, if you ask questions, I'm one of those that replies. I read all my comments underneath. If you want to be part of this build, shoot me a question, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video.